Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, one of the most loved men in rock and roll. John Feldy Feldmann joins us here on KROQ.
Thank you very much.
Goldfinger and the Back to the Beach Festival that we will get into for a minute. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We are good.
I was telling Kevin off the air when we were playing Tool a few minutes ago, I said, we got to remember to ask Feldy, the people that opened for you and your band before Goldfinger is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame of the future, right?
Tool was one of them, yes.
Tool opened for you. Who else opened for you when you were in the Electric Love Hogs?
Just real quick. So Maynard, the singer of Tool, used to be our mascot. So he used to come on stage.
Your mascot?
With a lawn blower and shoot hot dogs from the lawn blower into the crowd.
That is Kevin's dream.
I would do that now. I would do that now.
It was the best gig of all time. And that was, I met Maynard the day he moved to Los Angeles, like literally. You know, he was, yeah, those were good times. Rage Against the Machine played probably their third show. We took them on tour. We took Korn on their first tour ever.
You guys understand that we're saying all of these bands opened
for my band. The Electric Love Hogs. The best band name of all time. Yes.
There was quite a scene of I feel like that was a point where rock music was kind of changing into something different, like it does every 10 or 15 years, right?
Yeah, it was going from hair metal into that whole really creative musical, like it was Tool, Rage Against the Machine, Jane's Addiction, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Fishbone, which was so great last year at Back to the Beach. Like we had Fishbone on it, which was such an honor for me. I remember seeing Angelo, the singer of Fishbone, like at the Palace back in the day, dive off the that little balcony up there, like did 2 backflips off it and then head walked on the crowd. I'm like, how can you ever play a better show?
And that man is still doing it.
He looks
great shape.
He looks exactly the same. That guy does not age.
Yeah,
you know,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
And so you were rocking out pretty hard back then. And what year would this have been? The Electric Love Hogs days.
This was like 1987 to 1991, probably like late 80s.
Yeah, so right at the birth of Lollapalooza, basically, right? So, so then at some point you thought, you know what? My first love is ska, though, right?
Well, kind of, sort of. I mean, my band was signed. Tommy Lee produced the band, which was great because back then, like, he brought us to his house and we met Heather Locklear. It was like, oh my God, Heather Locklear.
You didn't care about Tommy Lee. You wanted to meet Heather Locklear.
Yeah, that's not quite leaf blowers and a hot dog, but it's close.
Yeah, but it was like just an amazing point in my life watching this legendary drummer, like, in action. And I mean, every day he'd do some crazy, like he'd get on the ground and like light one of his farts with a match, and
that's what you want.
Yeah, out of a producer, I think you want. I mean,
absolutely.
He taught me a lot, and I've made my career based on.
I can be a producer. That's all it takes.
That's what Phil Spector used to do too with the Beatles
back in the day.
So then, how did Goldfinger come out of all of that? Then?
So we got the Love Hogs got signed, and then we got dropped, and I went back to selling shoes on the promenade of Santa Monica. So I was working at Nana, which was like this punk rock shoe store, like Creepers and Doc Martens and Monkey Boots, back in the day. And I was back to like looking at old ladies' corns and boils on their feet.
That must have been so much worse than traveling with like Rage Against the Machine or something.
I'll tell you, I remember actually Ricky Rackman came in because Ricky was a big supporter of our band. He played us on the metal station back in the day, and he came in the store, and I remember I left the shoe podium to pretend like I was actually shopping. Just because I didn't want to be that guy, like, and eventually my manager came up to me when he was still there, and he's like, I need you back at the podium. I'm like,
man.
That's going to be in your Behind the Music
you were like,
episode.
Come on,
you
can't play along with me for 1 second?
Yeah. But it was, there was the catalyst to have me start Goldfinger. I mean, the first show I ever saw was the English Beat, when I was in high school, and it was Bow Wow Wow opening for the English Beat, which was still one of the greatest shows I'd ever seen. And I remember this, I was 15, and this girl, Chrissy Dunnett, actually was at the Greek Theater in Berkeley. Like she was wearing that, the little skanking girl shirt, the English Beat one.
Right.
She was wearing that shirt, and she kissed me that night. I'll never forget. My first show. It was the best time I'd ever.
Look at his face.
I know he's so excited.
Lighting up. That's amazing.
I love my wife. I do love my wife. I love being married, but that was good times.
His memory is incredible.
That's what I was just thinking.
Detail you remember.
So that was the catalyst catalyst of starting my band was, how do I make a band that's kind of a cross between No Effects and the English Beat? I mean, or Bad Religion. I mean, those were kind of all the
mission
bands.
accomplished. Now, Goldfinger is still an ongoing concern, although you don't play all that much, right?
Concern.
That's concern.
I love your phrasing. We play probably 2 months a year. I'm in the studio most of the time. I mean, I produce records most of the time. But
you're too big time now.
I wouldn't go that far, but I still love playing music. We're going to Australia in March with Mill and Colin, and the whole tour is already sold out. So it's hard to say no when people still want to come see the band, you know? And I feel like there's been this kind of resurgence of this fun, like the ska punk movement has kind of come back around, and our festival is kind of proof of that.
What are we on, 4th wave now? 5th wave now?
I guess so. The Interrupters are probably 4th wave, wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
And they're amazing.
Love them.
Amazing.
An amazing group. So, you know, that's kind of that was why Goldfinger got together, and we're still 23 years later still doing it.
That's amazing. Grammy-nominated John Feldmann in our studio here on the Kevin and Bean Show. By the way, congratulations on that with your Fever 333 nomination. That's amazing.
Thank you, and thank you for playing them, too.
I love that band so much.
Great.
Your best friend in the world, Travis Barker, is the one who turned us on to them. I think it was probably last year, wasn't it, Kevin, when he was coming in to talk about this show? He's like, oh, you got to hear this band. So we checked them out, and they are amazing. And you did great work with them with the producing.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
I love live shows, and I don't know of a better live band than the Fever these days.
If you haven't seen them, you should watch. It's very Rage Against the Machine-esque.
Yeah.
So you know
what
to
energy.
expect. Yeah.
All right, so they were on the lineup last year, but now it's 2019. It's time to roll out the show lineup for the Back to the Beach Festival, which again goes on at the Huntington State Beach, and we'll give you all the ticket information. John, you want us to read this, or you want to read it?
I'll read it.
All right, let's hear Saturday, April the 27th, sir.
Okay, Saturday, April the 27th. The Drowns are opening. The English Beat.
Yes.
All right.
Maybe Chrissy Dunn will show up. Who knows?
If they let her off probation.
I hope she can still fit into that top.
Jensen thinks she's in prison for some odd reason.
I do. I think she's done bad things.
And then we have Safe Ferris with my friend Monique.
So fun.
We love Monique.
So they were here last year, so this will be the second year in a row Safe Ferris plays.
That's great.
And then the Aquabats.
All right.
The legendary Aquabats. We may get a feature that day by our friend Travis Barker. Maybe not. Who knows?
Try to keep him off the stage, why don't you?
I know, that's going to be...
I mean, honestly, with all of these bands, that's possible.
Yeah.
Any concert.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Aquabats are one of my...
of course.
God, they're the best. Streetlight Manifesto.
Nice.
Legendary live band. And then local favorites, Real Big Fish.
Yes.
You knew the first time you saw them that they were something special, right, John?
I signed Real Big Fish to Mojo Records. I saw them open for the Skeletones at the Barn in Riverside, and they played Sellout, and I'm like, that is a song.
Wow.
That is a song, and I knew it. They were 15 years old, and I signed them. That was the first band I ever signed in my life. Was Real Big Fish. And I'm so proud to this day that they're playing our festival. They actually played my wedding as well.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow.
They played my wedding. They played
Did
anything
they do
I wanted.
She Has a Girlfriend Now?
They played that song and dedicated it to me. Yes, of course they did. It was really, really lovely of them. And then the Finger of Gold, Goldfinger, is also playing this.
The Finger of Gold, I like it.
How'd you get them?
That was a hard one, you know.
Now, Travis plays drums for Goldfinger now, right?
Well, Travis has played a few shows. Travis doesn't fly, so our friend Travis has played shows with us locally, and it's one of the greatest experiences I've ever had having him on drums. I mean, I just don't. To me, there's not a better drummer that's ever lived.
I agree, and he also does so much more than he has to. You see, most drummers just keeping a beat, keeping time, whatever. He really puts a lot into it.
When we're hanging out, he's always coming up with some new cadence, some new drum rhythm. I mean, he's got a drum pad he carries like a backpack around. I mean, wherever we go, he's playing something. So he's so engulfed in the whole, you know, just playing drums. He just loves the art.
No one has ever loved it more. Now, I just want to stop you for 1 second because this is Feldy on the Kevin Bean Show talking about Saturday, April 27th at the Huntington State Beach. I'm sorry, you've already got yourself a show with Goldfinger, Real Big Fish, Streetlight Manifesto, Aquabats, Save Ferris, English Beat, The Drowns. That has to be it, right?
Well, Goldfinger is going to have some very special guests that I'm not going to mention today, but we are going to have an epic lineup. Last year we had Aaron from Real Big Fish came and played. We had Tony from No Doubt came and played. We had Angelo from Fishbone came and played. So it was like we had this really great best of kind of event.
Now, are you saying that they're going to join you or that it's a whole surprise?
We are going to have a surprise at the end of our set.
Okay.
We're going to have some surprise guests that I will not mention now, but it's going to be an epic lineup.
It's Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
And then what happens after Goldfinger leaves the stage?
So after Goldfinger plays our set, we have our very special friends and some of my best friends on the planet, Blink 182.
Come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Blink 182.
I mean, that's pretty damn good.
It's too much show.
It is too much.
Too much.
TMS.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted already, and that's just one night of the weekend. All right, let's.
I don't know. For Southern California, I don't know what show. I don't know. For me, it's the perfect. I don't know.
It's
Agreed.
awesome.
And on the beach and everything. I mean, it's just perfect.
It's amazing. All right, that's Saturday, April 27th. Now here's Feldy with Sunday, April the 28th of the Back to the Beach Festival.
So Low Lives are opening, Teenage Wrist are next, and then a band that I found from St. Louis, Story of the Year, play next, who I signed to Maverick Records back in the day, and then Less Than Jake are back again for a second year. Legendary ska punk band.
Sure.
You know, and the idea of the show is, initially to be a ska festival, right? Because it was something, it just didn't exist. And last year was probably 90% ska.
And last year was the first year, right?
Last year was the first year. I was on tour with Bad Religion and NoFX, and I said, how can NoFX have their own tour, but we don't have a ska tour? So here we are. Next up is the Wonder Years. And then Anthony Green from Circus Survive and Seosin. And then the Story So Far, who are just an amazing live band, incredible live band. And then the headliners on Sunday, a band that I found from Salt Lake City, The Used.
Wow.
All right.
Big shows.
It's a hell of a weekend right there.
Big lineup.
Yes.
You have discovered and signed a lot of bands, Feldy.
I have. That is true. Yeah. I worked with 5 Seconds to Summer right before they were signed. I worked with 21 Pilots before they were signed. And I worked with Panic at the Disco back in the day.
When did you learn to trust your judgment on who's good and who's not, what songs are good and what songs aren't?
That's a great question. I mean, Real Big Fish was the first thing that I just knew that there was something special. And to me, it's a feeling, it's the goosebumps or that feeling of like there's a star in the band that can write their own music and they're an amazing live band. I mean, those three things are key for me to be able to, when I met Bert from The Used, he snuck on our bus, so drunk with a cassette tape of his demo, and our tour manager, actually, he weighed about 95 pounds, actually picked him up and threw him out of the bus. And then the next day I listened to the cassette and I'm like, holy moly, I've never heard someone
How
sound.
often did that happen? In the day, how long did that happen? Or even still now, do people rush you with their music?
I mean, I probably get 50 a week. I get a lot, but I mean, finding that special.
What made you listen to that cassette?
I listen to everything.
You do?
I
Every
listen to
single
everything.
thing.
How do I know I'm not missing the next Freddie Mercury? It's like, how do I have to listen?
But instead of a cassette, are they just yelling their link? www.
I got a SoundCloud. Bus drives by.
Just Sharpie on my hand. Here it is. I know it is an interesting. People have actually little keychains, like USB keychains they'll bring, But I mean, I don't even have anywhere I can play a CD anymore. None of my computers, none of my cars, nothing.
Yeah.
Even play
true.
a CD. It's a strange thing.
And I know we're going to run out of time, and I hate this because you're always so much fun to talk to, but every band is different in the studio when you're producing. Some you don't have to do much. Some you have to kind of do a lot of heavy lifting, John?
Well, yeah. I mean, some bands want me to co-write. Some bands just want me to produce and just get a great guitar sound. It just depends on the band. Some people just want me to light farts. I mean, it's like, it's just really, I mean, but, part of it really is kind of looking after the psychology of how do you get the singer. I mean, you can lead a singer to the microphone, but you can't make them sing. And how do you get that performance? And how do you get that singer to rewrite a lyric that they love that isn't good enough?
So you literally will light your fart on fire and then he'll go right to the mic and nail it.
That's how I do it. Tommy Lee, thank you very much for my career. I owe it all to you.
Here's the recap. Second annual Back to the Beach. It's going to be at Huntington State Beach, April 27th and 28th. Tickets are going on sale this Friday morning at 10 a.m. at backtothebeachfest.com. Weekend passes start at $79.99. Kids 10 and under get in free with paid adult admission. That's fun. It's a whole family event, right? And there are also VIP ticket packages also available. So this Friday at 10 a.m., of course, we got all that information at KROQ.com, or you can go to backtothebeachfest.com. Before we let Feldy go, we're doing 60 seconds with, right?
Yes.
All right, John, we're going to throw, Kevin's going to throw a bunch of questions at you in 60 seconds. You just answer with the first thing that comes to your mind, all right?
Yep.
What's the worst thing that happened to you while stage diving?
Ooh, landing on my head.
And what did you want to be when you were a kid?
Herpetologist.
Do you collect anything?
Coffee.
Coffee
mugs.
Dog kisses on the mouth, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Do you have any hidden talents?
I have web toes. I can swim really, really well.
What was your worst job?
Door-to-door frozen yogurt salesman.
What's your least favorite song of all time? Is there one that just drives you crazy?
No, I love all music.
What advice would you give to your teenage self?
Just keep it together, kid. It's going to be all right.
What would people be surprised to find out about you?
I've seen the entire Friends series 4 times.
That works.
I can't.
That works.
Wow.
That's not wrong.
I thought you were busier than that.
Right? We pictured you listening to music and lighting your farts, and you're watching the Friends.
I fly a lot. When I go to Australia, I'll watch it again. You know?
Congratulations on a wonderful, wonderful lineup. We'll see you out there. Feldy, always a pleasure, sir.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Mark Hoppus, the greatest lyricist of all time, and thank you for playing the show. Blink-182 are going to crush.
Perfect. Thank you, man.